Happy Monday, dear listeners, watchers, writers. Today we have a spooky episode in store for you. We will be talking about scary stories just in time for Halloween. We're a very odd species. Most of our lives are devoted towards keeping ourselves safe, right? Towards keeping ourselves sheltered from scary things. And yet, we watch horror movies, we read murder mysteries, we dress up like scary creatures on Halloween, we visit haunted houses just to deliberately be afraid. Well, according to the Oxford Open Learning Platform, our bodies, just looking at them from a scientific perspective, they are always on the lookout for danger. And when we're afraid, we go into a state that might be frightening, but also gives us a pump of adrenaline. It invigorates us. So they kind of our bodies seek that thrill. Scary stories also offer us a way to experience fear while being able to manage it, choose it, control it, and overcome it. Because it is in a very specific setting where we can put the book away, we can switch the movie off, we can walk out of a movie hall, we can pick up our phones and watch something funny to cut the fear. And at the end of the book or at the end of the movie, we can feel the kind of catharsis from having managed fear and come through it. Neil Gaiman, celebrated sci-fi writer, often writes horror. Talks about this too. He talks about ghost stories and says, and I quote, "Fear is a wonderful thing in small doses. It's good to be a child again for a little while and to fear not governments, not regulations, not infidelities or accountants or distant wars, but ghosts and such things that don't exist. And even if they do, they can do nothing to hurt us." Horror is so incredibly hard to write, almost as hard as writing comedy because they're so similar. What? You're saying? How can that be? What are you talking about? How are horror and comedy similar? Well, they are. It's at least the writing of them, at least the craft of them. Scaring a reader and making them laugh rely on similar things: building anticipation, excellent delivery, packing in a surprise, the unexpected, and lots of payoff at the end. So, tuck yourselves in. We are going to be reading some excerpts from very scary stories. Just so you know, I've picked ones that are not gory, that are not too horrific, that I would say on a scale of bland to really, really spicy, I would say they're a mild to medium. Are starting with good old Shakespeare himself, Macbeth, terrifying in bits. Everybody refers to the horror in Shakespeare by talking about the witches, double, double toil and trouble. But honestly, I think the witches sound like fun. They don't sound particularly evil or scary. So they use some interesting ingredients. They're just adventurous cooks. I wonder if it's just that people were scared, maybe still are, of single women who are independent and tell the truth. Anyway, as the witches themselves kind of indicate, they aren't the ones to be afraid of. The second witch says, when our main character, our titular character, walks in, she says, "By the pricking of my thumbs, something wicked this way comes." Anticipation building. We feel that sense of knowing something's wrong, right? Pricking of my thumbs that set, we've all felt it, that intuition that something's bad, something's off, but we do not know yet what it is. So Shakespeare makes this experience of intuition embodied because we first experience everything through the body. And the witch, the second witch, shows us what to be afraid of. Macbeth himself. Here's another deliciously scary line from the play. Lennox says to Macbeth, "The night has been unruly. Where we lay, our chimneys were blown down, and as they say, lamentings heard in the air, strange screams of death, and the obscure bird clamored the livelong night. Some say the earth was feverish and did shake." Remember, I'm being a little dramatic because Shakespeare is meant to be watched and listened to and enacted, not read. Anyway, in this selection, we see how the ground beneath our feet, the only solid thing, is shaking unreliable. The chimneys, the roofs that keep shelter over our heads, that keep us warm, blown away. Night supposed to be silent, a time when we rest and recuperate to face what might be the horrors of the day. Even night is shattered. Terrible noises, strange screams of death. What force can it be to shake up the roofs over our heads, the ground beneath our feet, the silence of the night? We don't see it, but the descriptions help us feel it and experience how threatening it is. Finally, who can forget Lady Macbeth, haunted by her own sins as they're manifested in a bloodstain that won't come out no matter what she does? Out, damn spot, she says, and it won't come out. True horror shows us how the character's own action, their own pasts, their own development is scarier. Our own lives, our own potential for damage, the parts of our personality we don't want to accept, those are more terrifying than almost any external force. Next up, the queen herself, the parent, the mother, the progenitor of science fiction. She gave birth to a genre that would go on to be dominated by men and exclude women for a long time, science fiction. Here's Mary Shelley with a slice from Frankenstein. I started from my sleep with horror. A cold dew covered my forehead, my teeth clattered, and every limb became convulsed. When, by the dim and yellow light of the moon, as it forced its way through the window shutters, I beheld the wretch, the miserable monster whom I had created. He held up the curtain of the bed, and his eyes, if eyes they may be called, were fixed on me. We are first shocked, thrust into the story. The protagonist, the speaker, starts awake. But then Mary Shelley takes her time, she takes it slow, she allows anticipation to build. She doesn't let us see immediately what woke the speaker up in horror. She builds the atmosphere. She does it because that way our dread grows. She uses the senses to build this. The speaker has a cold sweat, cold dew, feel. Their teeth chatter, feel and hear. The body tenses and trembles, feel again. Dim yellow moon, we see it forcing its way in through the blinds. We don't get a description of the monster himself. We do, though, get of the monster. Oof, terrifying. His eyes, if eyes they may be called. Creepy, creepy, creepy. We can't really do this without reading some Stephen King, the master of horror, right? Bert jumped down from the pulpit and ran down the center aisle. He threw open the outer vestibule door, letting in hot sunshine, dazzling. Vicky was bolt upright behind the steering wheel, both hands plastered on the horn ring, her head swiveling wildly. From all around, the children were coming. Some were laughing gaily. They held knives, hatchets, pipes, rocks, hammers. One girl, maybe 8, with beautiful long blonde hair, held a jack handle. Rural weapons, not a gun among them. This is from Children of the Corn. Hot sunshine, laughing children, they're beautiful, our very own Midwestern cornfields. What could be scary about this? What danger? I mean, they're laughing. Not a single child is holding a gun. Wait, why is that commented on? Why would they have guns? Wait, did he earlier say they had rural weapons? Ah, so here's tension. Fear where we don't expect fear to be. There's contradiction. Horror in images that are usually associated with innocence, right? Light, blonde, gold, sunny. So, danger can lurk here too. We aren't safe from it anywhere. These laughing golden blonde white children, the picture of what Western literature has painted as innocence, right? Stephen King does a masterful thing. Finally, I will end with a poem by Louise Gluck, who was recently awarded the Nobel Prize for Literature. I won't explain this one too much, I will just let you feel it. All Hallows. Even now, this landscape is assembling. The hills darken. The oxen sleep in their blue yoke, the fields having been picked clean, the sheaves bound evenly and piled on the roadside among quintifoil as the toothed moon rises. This is the barrenness of harvest or pestilence, and the wife leaning out the window with her hand extended as in payment, and the seeds distinct gold calling, come here, little one. And the soul creeps out the tree. Okay, here is your writing prompt. Write from the point of view of a scary character in literature or film. Pretend to be them, out on your way to terrify people. This could be anybody, Dracula, Frankenstein's monster, the character I was most scared of when I was a kid, which was Cruella de Vil for some reason. It could be the girl from The Ring, whoever you were most frightened or unsettled by. Set a 7-minute timer and go. That's our alarm. You know, it got dark while I was talking to you, and this really, really creepy wind started to blow. Is the wind actually creepy? No. Am I still a little scared? Yes. I hope you are too. And I hope that this has also helped you to write in a way that will scare other people. Remember, they want it. They want to be scared. So, take care of yourselves, have a fun, happy, safe Halloween, and I will see you next week.